Good morning, friends. I'm super happy to be here with you today. So if you found this podcast and this is your first time, welcome. I have to say it's been growing very fast lately, and I know it's because you guys are sharing it, and I just love that I am speaking to you on some deeper level. So thank you for that. For today's episode, I'm really excited to dive a bit more into energy work with you. I want to explain a little bit about why a lot of people are feeling super overwhelmed by their surroundings and the people that they are in contact with throughout the day, whether that's at work or family settings or whatever it could be. I want to talk about why sometimes we feel like we cannot separate from that after we're in their presence, or why we feel overwhelmed and just kind of tired. Let's simplify all of it and talk strictly about the energy and what's going on in your system. All right, guys, let's get started. Hey friend, welcome to Deep Healing for Creative Entrepreneurs. My name is Aubrey Barr, and I am a subconscious release technique practitioner and photography business owner. I know you are sick of ending your day feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, and you are seeking a solution to help you feel creatively inspired and actively engaged in your business as well as personal life. In this podcast, we are going to dig into any limiting beliefs or subconscious programs that are keeping you in a space filled with anxiety and stress. This work is not a temporary solution for your life. No, this is a complete transformation. So grab your coffee or tea and let's start you on the road to healing. And let me just say, you can do this, you are worth it, and you are meant to thrive in life and business. So let's dig in. First off, I'm going to assume that if you are listening to this podcast, you are an entrepreneur, but you do not have to be. So please just take these scenarios and apply them to your life and see what fits for you. Because a lot of us, even though we own our own business, may also have other side jobs or a main job per se. We all have a list of things to do every day, right? My list is in my head. I'm not someone who writes it down, but it's there and I know what I need to do every day. And so when we are going about our lives and we're trying to do our routine and check the stuff off our list, we often come in contact with other people. That is the cycle of life. And I will say now, as a caveat, even if you are not in person with someone, but let's say you have to do a couple Zoom meetings, maybe you're a virtual teacher, maybe you do some work virtual like around social media management or graphic design or photography, whatever it may be, you are energetically coming in contact with a lot of people throughout your day, whether you like it or not, right? If I don't feel like going to the grocery store, I will try not to go, but sometimes I just have to go. So I'm going to come in contact with people, and I may not feel like I am energetically willing to talk to people, or maybe just in general, I don't feel really comfortable outside of my house today for whatever reason, right? But the reality is that we do come in contact with people. And one of the biggest questions, concerns, things that come up in my conversations online with people or even in my group sessions is people want to know, how do they separate themselves from these other energies that are coming in and are feeling super overwhelming? Okay, I will say that as someone who works with people on their energy and on their subconscious, I am super sensitive to it. Super sensitive. I always looked at this as a problem when I was younger. I didn't know exactly what I was looking at as a problem, but I could tell I was being drained and it didn't feel good. And I knew that when I was by myself and I was able to collect my thoughts and I, maybe did some stretches or maybe just connected more with earth or whatever it may be, that I felt like, oh, okay, I'm rejuvenated. Now I can handle these other things. And so when that pattern played out as many times as it did in my life, it was a really good wake up moment to say, oh, there's something going on here, something more than what I can explain, especially at that time. I could not explain it at all, but it was asking for my attention, right? And that's what happens when our body responds to other people's energy. It is saying, hey, look at this. You need to pay attention to this. This isn't good for you. It could say, this is too much for you. You don't know how to regulate this. These are things that come up a lot, and it could be, a number of things. But basically, the suggestion is that something's going on. You are energetically reacting to somebody else's stuff. We'll say that's a big basket of stuff, okay? Could be anything. But you're not able to regulate that and release the things that aren't serving you and continue on about your day without having that hold you back. So I know so many of you relate to this, because I'm just telling you, it comes up all the time. So much so, I'm recording this episode, and I have also a few Instagram reels in my account that talk about different things that I do for this. Some of them are older, so shoot me a message and I'll send them to you if you can't find them. But anyway, the point being that when we are in a state of accepting other people's emotions, right? We kind of have this flag over our head that says, I'm going to listen to your problems. I am going to accept your emotions. I'm going to try to help you with everything and all of these things. And these are actually good things. But when they're not regulated, they really come across as just negative and really no upside to them. So it's super important to be able to be happy that you have this incredible gift of, sensitivity and empathy, while still being able to put yourself first, be able to also help people. Because when you take on their emotions subconsciously, most of this is not conscious, you guys. Most of this is happening in the background, okay? But when you take on their emotions and you don't know what to do with it, and you hold on to them so much, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, that's what's going to happen. That is the next stage in learning, is like, hey, you shouldn't take this. You should not hold on to this. You need to release it. So, so that's what we're talking about. And it's so unique to everybody, but the signs are very similar. The signs being that you might end up like completely exhausted at the end of the day, and just look in the mirror and say, what did I even do today that I feel this tired? I got my sleep last night, right? Everything makes sense except for the fact that I'm exhausted. And it could be that you're just exhausted, but a lot of times there's a connection there with the energy. And there is definitely a receiving of energy and a not giving back of energy. So when we take that on ourselves as something to hold on to, it kind of sounds like a savior complex, right? But no, it's really not. It's just a misunderstanding of how to use our gifts when you really think about it. So don't misunderstand that. You do have a gift, okay? But we need to get a better handle on how we can regulate that. Okay, so that being said, I have some very cool tricks. I told you guys on my Instagram. Let me know. I will definitely point you to them. There's a reason why I make these freebies for people and spread that kind of knowledge, is because, believe me, we all need it. However, when we get to the core of what's going on, this will continue to happen if you don't clear out your own subconscious and your own trapped emotions. So imagine, if you will, that you had an experience when you were younger, and whatever it was left you feeling sadness or ignored, something like that. And so you have this emotion in you that's just trapped inside your body, and you don't know how to sift it out, because honestly, you just don't know. You don't know how to connect those dots between what happened and now how to release that. We were never really taught how to let those emotions have their space and then release them. That's just not part of our basic understanding. It's not something passed down to us. Now, I try to do that with my daughter, but yes, it's just something that's not taught to us. So what happens is we collect them. We collect them for 30 years. Okay. And that's a long time to hold on to things that are not making your life better. So when you go back to this scenario where you have this trapped emotion around, let's say, sadness, and then you come across a friend during the day who is sad, is feeling sadness now, and comes to you and says, hey, I am just in a bad place. Here's what's going on. I need someone to talk to. And you talk to them and you try to provide feedback and you try to support them the best way you can and try to just be this amazing friend, which we all are constantly trying to do. And then you leave that situation and it's just stuck with you. What's happening on a more energetic level is that the sadness in you is acting as a magnet, and their emotions are now coming to you and staying with you and reminding you, oh, guess what, Aubrey, you have some of this in here, and it's just holding on to it. Okay, so that's why when we're in a phase of not being healed from our past and just holding on to all of these trapped emotions in our body, that's why we collect those from other people and we end up in a place where it's really affecting our lives on a deeper level. It's because of that energetic component. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you guys, but remember the magnet, okay? And if you say to yourself, gosh, I know my friend's having a hard time and she's dealing with this marriage stuff, but my marriage is fine. Like, why can't I release this sadness? Why can't I, be a good friend and then still have a good night with my family without having to hold on to this, So this is a huge question I get all the time. And that's the reason. It's because something in you is not healed from this experience. And so you are acting as a magnet. And it's a beautiful thing being an empath because our energy centers really are open a lot of times. And we do magnetize things towards us. And we are amazing friends. And we are highly sensitive in a lot of ways. But if we can heal some of those parts of us, we can still remain good friends and amazing people and super sensitive while also being able to release it at the end of the day. Okay, we have to be able to have that separation. If we don't have that separation and that release mechanism and we don't learn how to use it, then we just constantly are putting ourselves in a situation where we are a victim to other people's problems. And I'll be honest with you, the better moments I've had as a coach, as a sister, as a mom, as a wife, is because I know how to regulate this now. It's been getting better and better over time. And that's because I've done the inner work. I've done the healing. I'm not done with the healing, but I have done so much that it's very easy for me to recognize where they're coming from. I still keep that empathy while being able to feel it and then knowing how to release it and just acknowledging each emotion for what it is and helping them process through what would be the next step now. Now that you've given me some of that, like, what's the next thing you need to do? And that's why I'm so good at it by now, because honestly, I've been through it and I understand the energy of it. So don't be upset to be an empath. Don't be, it's just so sad that it's hard for people to acknowledge that these are gifts because they haven't learned how to regulate their own system. Okay, so there's a lot of programming going in there. There's just so much limiting beliefs around what it's like to be so compassionate and feeling towards other people. But I promise you, it's a good thing when you learn to work on yourself. And until you do that inner work, you are always going to be this receptor and something that attracts all of these emotions meant to be held. Okay, so when your system is cleared out, when those toxins have left and those emotions have left, then you can learn to cycle through them. So if you're wondering and looking for how do I feel better at the end of the day, I'm so overwhelmed with taking other people's crap and I'm just done with it. Yeah, there's going to be some tips and tricks. There's going to be some easy fixes, okay? But it's important to acknowledge that there is a deeper thing under there. There is a deeper trauma that is waiting to be released in you. And as long as you avoid that, you're going to continue to be in this state of constant anxiety and overwhelm and exhaustion. Okay, so please, please, please let me know if that's helpful to you, because I know it's not what people want to hear. They want to hear all of the ways that we can end our day like this. And I'm telling you, I do have some tips, but this is a sign that part of you needs to be healed and is asking you repeatedly, Can we take care of this issue? Can we tackle this? Can this be done? And I am saying to you, yes, it can. Okay. And you are better off at the end of it so that your gifts can truly shine and really show up in your world. Your intuition will be better. You will be so empathetic, but yet very grounded at the same time. These are things that we're working for, all of us. You will love the other side of this. Okay. So, all right, guys, have a fabulous weekend. I'm headed to the beach with some girlfriends. It's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. Need to recharge. My favorite thing is to go and watch the sunrise in the morning. I had never been to a beach sunrise until I think it was last year or the one before. No, it was last year. So that was my first time, and gotta say, very spiritual, very, very spiritual experience for me. So, okay, guys, have a beautiful day. We will talk soon. All right. Bye, friends.
I hope this podcast spoke to you in some way. If it did, please go ahead and leave me a review and subscribe so that I know you're enjoying what you hear. And further, if you know somebody else who owns their own creative business and struggles with anything that we spoke about, please pass this on, because it is my hope that we will be able to build a community of like-minded individuals who love on each other and appreciate the many facets that make our creative business so unique. And lastly, check out the show notes to find my free Facebook community and other useful links to work with me. All right, friend, see you soon.